Happy Thursday, everybody. The 16th day of November 2017. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live here from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee. I am Dan Kuntz, your host for the next hour, alongside my friend and colleague, your friend and colleague, News Director Steve Hare. Happy Thursday.
Colleague?
Yeah, colleague.
That's pretty formal.
Okay, how would you prefer that I address you?
Contemporary.
Okay, well, no, you're not. Between the two of us, we have no idea what contemporary is. I have no real grasp of American popular culture, and I'm very proud of that. That's a flag I tote very high indeed.
If people could only hear what we talk about before we go on the air.
Which they don't, thank goodness. We are live here from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee and Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Great show for you today. Normally on Thursdays, we don't promise a five-star show. You know that. We start out Monday, Steve and I and Caitlin, our producer, and we kind of coast through it. We don't work real hard, and the show, quite frankly, isn't very good on Monday. And then Tuesday is a lot like Monday. And then Wednesday, we kind of start getting our act together. Thursday, we get some momentum, and then Friday, it's always a five-star show for you. But today, Thursday, we have a five-star show. We do. It's a five-star show. Great guests in the second half. Steve Robinson, the Executive Director of the Pybus Public Market, and Gil Sparks, who is a member of the board of the Pybus Public Market, will be in our studio. Big, huge announcement. They got a new logo, Steve, and a new motto.
Oh, boy.
The only thing I can tell you about the new motto, it is not the happiest place on earth, because they floated that idea and Disney sued them immediately. So that wasn't going to happen. Weather forecast is coming up. Past report. Great news for you people who like to strap on skinny little pieces of fiberglass and throw yourself down the side of a mountain, because you can do that starting today. That'll be your top story coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
Fun.
Yeah, oh, I can't wait for that. Also, we got sports, more all-star team, more all-league teams have been announced. We'll be talking about that. And a big Seahawk was in town yesterday.
That's right. That's right. Trevon Boykin.
Yeah.
Backup quarterback.
Yeah, we sent JC back out, and he passed the background check, so we had a nice little interview with Mr. Boykin. We'll talk about that in sports. We have the obscure holiday of the day today. We got birthdays. We got Today in History. Everyone is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion and everything else you're so used to here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
This is an educational program, folks, so let that be a lesson to you. Huh?
Let's go around the Wenatchee Valley with our Valley View cameras. Beautiful morning today. There's been a change in the forecast, Steve. You're going to like this. It's going to be actually quite quiet now for the next couple of days. There's Wenatchee proper, looking good. Wenatchee Valley, beautiful place we live.
Oh, isn't that beauty?
I'm not moving. I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere. I love it so much. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that view, that big wet thing in the middle, that's called the Columbia River. And if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't be here.
Caitlin, can you pull up that picture of Mission Ridge?
Not right now,
Not right this
Steve.
minute? Okay. Well, I just wanted to show the comparison between what it looks like here in the valley.
We'll get to that in just a few
what it
minutes.
looks like in the mountains right now.
Steve, it's Tolerance Day now. Come on.
That's right. Okay.
Camera number two. Camera number two. Yeah, that's the Waterville camera, I believe, pointing down the river, isn't it?
There you can see
you can see the little
snow-capped
snow
hillsides.
Yeah. Actually, it looks kind of like your head, Steve.
What's that, snow-capped?
Yeah.
Oh,
little white on top there. So that's the way off to the left there is the Wenatchee Valley. Good morning.
I use an anti-dandruff shampoo.
In the lower right-hand corner where our bug is, that NCW Life bug, there's Aniat.
That little label.
That little label.
Okay.
That's Aniat. If you look carefully, you can see the Aniat Dome, Steve.
Huh?
You can see the Aniat Dome, the Aniat Convention Center, the Hilton.
Oh, there
the
it is.
Aniat
Yeah,
Hilton.
okay,
Yeah,
that's right.
it's all right down there. Camera number 3, and we find out together. That's a beautiful sunrise.
Billy Goat.
That's Billy Goat. That's
Billy Goat.
Billy Goat. Is that the same angle we always use? It looks maybe it's been moved a little bit. It has been moved, yeah. So what a sunrise. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, Billy Goat, that's way, way up there. That's probably at least 5,000 feet in the air, that camera.
Okay.
Just spectacular footage.
How did it get its name?
Billy Goat?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll get back to you on that, Steve. And finally, camera 4 is
hey,
Lake
look
Wenatchee.
at that.
Lake Wenatchee. That's the Two Rivers camera. Sometimes we point it up the White River Valley, and sometimes we point it right down into the Lake Wenatchee area, and that's pointed right down into the Lake Wenatchee area. Isn't that spectacular?
Gosh, look at the sun-dappled water there. Gosh,
what?
that's neat.
The what?
Sun-dappled.
Oh, sun-dappled.
You like that?
I love them. I love them. I just got their new album. I'm going to play it when I get home. It is 5 minutes after the hour, live here from Studio 9 in downtown Wenatchee on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Thursday edition. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a bit of a change in the forecast. There's still a parade of systems out there that are going to pay us a visit, but they've slowed way down down. And that means we were supposed to have some rain and some clouds today, and now they're going, wait a minute, not so fast. It looks pretty good, actually, all things considered from your weather forecast. Partly sunny today, and a high of 47 degrees, Steve, and very little wind at all. Now, there's going to be some pockets of wind in other locations, not here. Partly sunny today, a few clouds tonight, and then it clears out. 33 for the overnight low tonight. It's 34, by the way, outside of our studios as we speak. Sunshine Friday, 47. Partly sunny Saturday, 46. Sunday we go back to the clouds. But they really backed off is the precipitation, both here on the valley floor, Steve, and up in the mountain passes.
Got a few little drizzle yesterday. Rain.
Yeah, wasn't much. Wasn't much. All in all, it's really typical November weather. Yesterday's high on Wednesday was 47. The overnight low was 38. It's about normal for this time of year. So the one big change in all of this that we had from this time yesterday was the precipitation, not nearly as much. A couple of sprinkles here and there, and that's really about it. Next chance of measurable rain, probably Sunday night into Monday, that far away.
Oh, wow.
And we don't know the forecast yet for Thanksgiving, which is 1 week from today. 1 week from today is Thanksgiving. We don't know. It's too far down the road.
So in terms of the Apple Cup game, we don't know.
We don't know. It's too far away. It's in Seattle. It'll probably rain. Won't say that much. So that was your forecast. Let's take a look at your past report. And just like was they were predicting here in the Wenatchee Valley, they've backed off a bit of the snow, what they're expecting in the Cascades as well. That is I-90, Snoqualmie Pass. Traction tires are advised. It is snowing.
Slushy. Yeah.
You'll find some snow and slush on the roadway on I-90. Stevens Pass right now. Traction tires are advised. Snow and slush on the roadway. It's snowing on Stevens Pass. And there's cars in the parking lot.
Getting ready.
And on Blewett Pass, traction tires are advised. Roadways mostly bare. You're going to find some slush and ice in places. It is not snowing on Blewett Pass. Your forecast for the mountain passes today, 2 to 4 inches of snow possible. Couple of inches, maybe up to 4 inches of snow on Thursday night. Friday, couple inches of snow up to 4 inches. Friday night, couple of inches of snow. So all of this, all added up between today all the way into Saturday, a total accumulation of about a foot of snow.
Skiers' delight.
Yeah, no problems with that. But they were expecting actually more snow. So they backed off that just a little bit. So there you go. That is your weather forecast and your past report on this live edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley from Studio 9 in downtown Wenatchee. 7 minutes after the hour, when we come back, the gentleman to my left has your news. On this Thursday, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CVCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CVCH respects that.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen, and the cabinets, and floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time, Mary Maids.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Well, good morning. Here we go on a Thursday. It's November 16th, and here's what's happening around north central Washington. First of all, big day today, Stevens Pass Ski Resort opening for its 80th season of operations after an abundance of early season snow hit the area. November 16th is tied for the third earliest opening day, with the latest storms bringing in a total snowfall of 37 inches, according to the resort. Now, there will be reduced lift ticket prices for opening day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Restaurants, shops, lessons available as well at Stevens Pass. Meanwhile, Mission Ridge Ski Resort has targeted the Thanksgiving holiday weekend for their season opener, but if conditions allow, they could open this weekend. We'll find out later today if that's the case. Here's a shot from their webcam looking down on the ski run. So obviously they've been able to make man-made snow up there with the colder temperatures during the evening hours. So Hopefully we can get an early start to the snow season for skiers up at Mission Ridge, but we'll find out later today if that's the case. Stay tuned to NCW Live channel throughout the day, and check in with our Facebook and Twitter pages and our website. We'll have an update for you there as well. Meanwhile, from the NCW Live close but no cigar file, on a 9-0 vote, the state Supreme Court ruled yesterday that the state legislature remains out of compliance with the court's McCleary ruling on education funding. Now, in their written order, the justices acknowledged that the state has made significant progress in fully funding the program of basic education, but at the same time, they say the system it uses delays by over a year implementation of an approved salary model. Now, meanwhile, a $100,000 a day fine against the legislature remains in place. Justices questioned the legislature's attorney about those delays during a hearing back on October 25th.
They failed to give us the plan that we asked for, which resulted in the penalties, and here we are. We're here today, and what has been brought is something that says, well, we're not going to do it all. We'll do some, and we will do more later, after the time frame.
Respectfully, that's not what the legislature is saying. No, we're not going to do it all. What the legislature is saying is that we are doing it all. We've enacted the legislation to do it all, but it takes 2 years to phase it in. It's that second year which is causing the problem, but it's not because the legislature has not committed to doing it all and not enacted the legislation in place to make it happen.
All in the time frame that they asked us to give them originally. Will you agree with that?
I would agree that the full funding is not in place by the 2018 deadline.
And again, the High Court's ruling summarizes nearly 6 years of history in this particular case. Justices say lawmakers have met the court's order regarding class sizes, all-day kindergarten, transportation, and funding for materials and supplies. The lone remaining issue, salaries. Also, after completing 12 weeks of intense classroom study, the Wenatchee Police Department graduated a new class of citizen cadets last night. Led by instructing officer Eric Vasquez, the group of 25 students received their police academy certificates last night. Mayor Frank Kuntz and Police Chief Steve Crown were also at the ceremony. They shared a few words with the graduates.
From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everything that you guys did. It takes a lot of time out of your areas, away from your families, away from your kids, and I appreciate it. You guys were there every single day, and it was awesome, and I hope you guys learned some stuff.
We are pretty fortunate to have the kinds of police officers that we have, Chief Crown, Eric Vasquez, and everybody else. We do have a remarkable group of folks that lead our department, and it's my job as mayor to make sure they have all the tools that they need in their tool belt, so when things go wrong, they have the things that they need.
Is it pretty amazing that 12 weeks is up? I mean, you guys have been here for a full 12 weeks and putting aside your time to make this happen. And because of your input, the great questions that you all asked, the interaction that you had with your fellow classmates, it made this a rich process and something that you can take home and talk about.
Again, you can look for the full graduation ceremony on our NCW Life magazine program, produced by Jay Seebeck, in the coming weeks. Bad luck for a driver of a stolen vehicle in Moses Lake Tuesday night. Shortly after 9, an off-duty Moses Lake police officer on his way to work was nearly struck by a vehicle driven by 23-year-old Luis Martinez, who you can see here in a police body cam image. The officer quickly realized the vehicle was a Ford Focus that had been reported stolen earlier Tuesday morning. That off-duty officer called 911, followed the suspect vehicle until it stopped at a residence on Windy Street, there in the Moses Lake area. Officer confronted Martinez and held him until the officers arrived. Martinez was arrested without incident, booked into the Grant County Jail on charges of possession of a stolen vehicle and driving with a suspended license. Stolen Ford Focus was left running and unattended when it was stolen. There lies a message to all of us here in the North Central Washington area during these cold morning hours. If you go out to warm up your car, don't leave it unattended. Also starting today and running through next weekend, the Washington State Patrol will be conducting special multi-district emphasis patrols as Washington State University students traveled across the state for the Thanksgiving holiday break and the annual Apple Cup football game next weekend in Seattle. District 4 troopers in Spokane, Whitman, and Adams counties, and District 6 troopers in Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Kittitas counties will be focusing on speeding to include driving too fast for conditions, distracted, impaired driving, and other collision-causing violations during these emphasis patrols. They'll especially be watching out for that type of activity on State Route 26 and 195, and of course on I-90 as well. Well, it's a big weekend. The calendar says it's November, but the America Performing Arts Center is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. In fact, the PAC is once again hosting the annual Festival of Trees, and NCW Life's Megan McPherson filed a report previewing the big day.
Decorations are up at the downtown Stanley Civic Center with professionally decorated Christmas trees that will be auctioned off to the highest bidders. I talked to the event coordinator, Camille Cadman, about the event and the planning that goes into it.
Festival of Trees is the second largest now fundraiser for the New America Performing Arts Center. We create a virtual forest of Christmas trees of all sizes and shapes and mini trees and wreaths, and it's all Christmas. So there's really nothing here that is not about Christmas. So we have, oh my goodness, 65 mini trees and wreaths, 19 classic trees. Most of those have gifts that go with them. 5 grand trees that will be auctioned off Saturday night at our live auction and dinner. And then a variety of artwork. So there's a lot here to see. We start in our upper lobby at the Performing Arts Center and stretch back all the way through the ballroom of the Convention Center.
You'll have a chance to preview the show for yourself and perhaps find a fully decorated tree to bid on at Saturday's gala. A public viewing is slated for Thursday starting at 10 a.m. I'm Megan McPherson for NCW Life News.
Well, moving from one season to another, and well, the haves and the have-nots, you might say. The parking lot in front of the Encouraging Words bookstore on South Wenatchee Avenue, once again serving as a makeshift homeless camp for the Night in a Box event. That is tomorrow night. The event brings attention to the plight of the area's homeless. Wenatchee's Lighthouse Christian Ministries has hosted the event for the past 6 years, and this year's fundraiser is spearheaded by several community leaders who've been involved in a friendly competition to raise money for the nonprofit. Among them, John Brissot, pastor with the Living Room Church.
I will say without doubt that I love the Lighthouse. I have never seen a ministry that is so kingdom focused and has impacted valley-wide like that ministry. And I know this community wants to serve. I know this community wants to give, but sometimes it's hard to know, am I giving and am I being a good steward of my giving by the organization I give it to? How do I know that it's being used for the purpose that it said it's going to? And I'll tell you without a doubt that every dollar given to this organization is exponentially creating influence and fruit around our valley. So that's why I want to be part of this. I want to challenge others to get involved with it because it is a worthwhile investment.
Pastor Brissot joined Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett, Attorney Andy Kontkamp, Apple Blossom Festival Administrator Darcy Christofferson, Bart Tilley, Kay Coldy, pastor of Sage Hills Ministry, and Doug Milner with Fibonacci Smile. It's all tomorrow night at the Encouraging Words bookstore. One final note here this morning, United Way of Chelan and Douglas County will soon begin searching for a new full-time executive director following the resignation of Alan Walker. Earlier this month, the United Way has issued a news release announcing Walker's resignation and the hiring of former Washington State Apple Blossom Festival Administrator and former Kashmir Chamber of Commerce Manager Sarah Erdahl as interim executive director. Walker was hired 16 years ago. He's credited with helping to establish the Youth United program that promotes volunteerism among our younger population. Again, good luck to Alan Walker, a good man, and certainly we wish him well in his future endeavors, but he's been a good executive director. Very active in the community. He's engaged a lot more people, I think, in that organization, and always a successful fundraiser as well.
I hope he and his wife stay in town.
Absolutely.
Continue to contribute to the community.
Good people.
Absolutely. 19 minutes after the hour. Don't forget, get a hold of us to send us your news tips or just general ideas or just say hi. Whatever the case may be, we try to make it as easy for you as possible in this age of mass technology and social media. It's all out there. You can message us on Facebook. You can call us directly. We have telephones, which are just phenomenal. I really love these telephone things. These are catching on too. You can email us, Steve. Any number of ways for you to get a hold of us. It's right there on the screen.
Facebook, there's that phone number. Write it down. Remember this, folks. It's for breaking news and for any suggestions on possible news stories or topics you'd like us to cover. That's 888-NCWL, 888-6295 for NCW Live.
The news with Grant Olson comes your way Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and again at 10 o'clock in the evening. And you'll be doing the news tomorrow, right? Tomorrow night?
That's right.
You'll be handling the news? So Grant's taking a well-deserved 3-day weekend, so there you go. Get a hold of us. This is your station as much as it is ours. Steve, I'll let you get back to work, my friend.
You betcha.
Say hi to Steve and Gil in the green room. They're patiently waiting by Steve Robinson, the executive director of the Pybus Public Market, and Gil Sparks, who is a member of the board of directors of the Pybus Public Market, will be in this studio here in just a few minutes to talk about some really cool things Pybus related. You're going to like that conversation. But up next on the agenda, sports. It's 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up on NC Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Head.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by LocalTel Communications. Pybus Public Market is hosting their annual Holiday Artisan Fair in the main concourse in the Pybus Event Center Saturday, November 18. It will feature over 40 local and regional vendors including crafts, holiday gifts, decor, jewelry, art, and more. This free event is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information and other community events, visit ncwlife.com.
And we are back live from Studio 15 in downtown Wenatchee at 22 minutes after the hour on this Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's do sports in the 12s. They were out in force yesterday in conjunction with Weinstein Beverage and Frito-Lay. Seattle Seahawks quarterback Trevon Boykin stopped by Walmart for a couple hours. He was signing autographs, was having his picture taken with the fans. It was a really cool event. Our very own Jay Seebeck got caught up with him and to talk about playing in the NFL and how to get there.
All right, we're here at Walmart, and I'm with no one else other than Trevon Boykin, Seattle Seahawks quarterback. Trevon, you've been having to smile. You're signing autographs for the last 2 hours. I'm sure you're worn out, but what's it been like here in Wenatchee? How's the welcoming party been? Have we done all right?
Oh, y'all have done more than outstanding. I mean, to come here and see the amount of support that the Seahawks have is like no other. So, I mean, it was just so unreal to come and actually feel the love.
And so you've been playing football for a very, very long time, and hard for people to be playing football for that long, but I mean 4 years at TCU, and then you're now on the second half of the second year in the Seattle Seahawks organization. What would you tell some of the young kids here that are watching how to follow your dreams, how to keep working hard and making sure that you can play at the next level, keep going forward?
One thing I would say is never give up. If you're going to set your goal in life to be something, go be it. I remember when I first started playing this game from Pee Wee or Pop Warner, I always wanted to play in the National Football League, and for me, my dream came true, and it's something that you just have to take into consideration that a lot of people don't get to do this. So for you to be the top people in the business doing what you do and doing what you love to do, it's really fun. So I would just say stick with it and follow your dream.
And definitely a lot of work goes into that. So this year being kind of a unique year in the NFL, there's a lot of guys kind of getting hurt, and you're playing underneath, Russell Wilson's headed in the roster spot. But with the way the year is, how do you prepare yourself each day to be ready for any play, any kind of day?
You stay with it. At the end of the day, it's ball. You go out there and have fun, and everything will take care of itself. I mean, the more you practice, the more you get better, the more reps you get. So it's all fun. I mean, you go out there, you take as many mental reps as you can when you're not on the field. So in that aspect, you just try to stay as ready, stay healthy, make sure you stay in the playbook. Just do little things to always give you that advantage, so when they do call your name, you'll be ready.
All All right, that's Trevon Boykin with the Seattle Seahawks. Trevon, you're always welcome back in Wenatchee. Thanks so much.
Brother.
All right,
Appreciate it.
have a good one.
It's about the most excited I've seen Jay in quite some time. Boykin and the Seahawks, of course, are getting ready. They'll take on the Atlanta Falcons Monday night at CenturyLink Field. All right, let's do the Soccer All-League selection. Those announcements were made earlier in the week. First of all, congratulations to Wenatchee's Jaden Griggs, Player of the Year, and Panther head coach John Springer, Coach of the Year. Also selected to the first team, Wenatchee's Allie Flynn, Kate Springer, Ariana Escobedo, and Allie Rader. Eastmont's first team selections include Cheyenne Chang and Emma Simpson. Second team selections for both schools, Wenatchee's Greta Wiersma and Emmy Colday, as well as Eastmont's Vanessa Valdez and Natalia Alonso. Now to the Caribou Trail League All-League Soccer selections. That's what they look like. Cascades' Lauren Richardson, Player of the Year. Coach Glenn Stefanko, Coach of the Year. First teamers are Cascades' Ashley Parton, Emily Gaines, Victoria Driscoll, and Casey Muscat. Also receiving first team selections with Cashmere's Amy Martin, Chloe Diaz, Grace Erdman, Cami Kaniska, and Ellie Pheasant. Chelan's Mia Bordner, first team All-League as well. Here are the second team selections for the Caribou Trail League. Cascades' Josie Brennan, Maddie Vandell, and Devon Archer, Cashmere's Grace Erdman, and Megan Smith, and Chelan's Wendy Mendez, Esme Vera, and Ashley Sams in goal. We'll run down the all-league selections in volleyball coming up tonight with Eric Granstrom during the evening news. And speaking of tonight, it is hockey night because it's Thursday. Tonight we'll feature the Wild when they took on West Kelowna from last Friday at the Town Toyota Center. Here's just a little taste with our good friend Arch Ecker on the call from the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
Wilder back through center. Here they come, 4-on-2 break. Left side, Souter to the trailer, Zek. He's in. Back across to Weatherby, and he scores! Beautiful tic-tac-toe passing on the zone entry for the Wild. And Jasper Weatherby finishes it off going upstairs at 15-22. The Wild on the board first. They lead it 1-0.
So hockey night begins at 7 tonight with Call to the Wild and, of course, Clarkie's Corner, followed by the game between the Wild and the Warriors tonight right here on the NCW Life channel, 27 minutes after the hour. The Obscure Holiday is up next. I had 5 to choose from. Today is Button Day. Today is the Great American Smokeout, which is always the third Thursday in November. Today is Have a Party with Your Bear Day. And today is National Fast Food Day, like they need a day of their own. But no, today is International Tolerance Day. International Tolerance Day, and my producer Caitlin is laughing right now for reasons unknown. Look at that quote. That tells you everything you ever need to know about tolerance. It is Tolerance Day. It was celebrated and sponsored and brought together by the United Nations a long time ago, like 20 years ago. It's all about in these needs of times of war and terrorism and disregard for human life, celebrate tolerance. It's one of the best attributes any human being can have. International Tolerance Day, always November 16th. That's your obscure holiday of the day today. 28 minutes after the hour. Today in history. Happy birthday, Oklahoma. Oh, Oklahoma. There it is, Oklahoma. It was 110 years ago that Indian Territory, that's what it was called, Indian Territory, and Oklahoma Territory joined, and they formed the state of Oklahoma, which is admitted into the Union as the 46th state on this date in 1907. So Oklahoma is 110 years old today. The state song of Oklahoma, Oklahoma, big surprise there, the only Broadway musical song that is a state song as well. This caught my eye. Oklahoma has a state meal. The official Oklahoma state meal is fried okra, squash, cornbread, barbecued pork, biscuit, sausage gravy, grits, corn, strawberries, chicken fried steak, pecan pie, and black-eyed peas. That is the official meal for the state of Oklahoma, which brings up this interesting fact. 32.8% of adults in Oklahoma are obese. They should probably rethink this Oklahoma state meal thing. Happy birthday, Oklahoma, 110 years old today. 103 years ago today, November 16th, 1914, the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States officially opened in New York City. There are now Federal Reserve Banks, of course, all over the country. During its first day of operation, 103 years ago, the Federal Reserve Bank took in $100 million in deposits from 211 member banks, made 2 rediscounts. They received their very first shipment of Federal Reserve notes, and they gave away 7 calendars. It all happened on this date, 103 years ago. And finally, today is the 25th anniversary of a very unique little day in the life of Peter Watling. Peter Watling was a farmer in Hoxne, England. Peter lost his hammer, couldn't find it. Called up his buddy, his friend Eric Laws, said, "Eric, you have a metal detector, right? Can you come over to my farm and help me find my hammer with your metal detector?" Well, Laws found the hammer. He found the hammer. He also found 14,865 gold, silver, and bronze coins from the Roman era, the 4th century, valued at $4.3 million. It's become known as the Hoxne Hoard. The official museum of Great Britain bought all the coins from them, paid the market value for them, and Peter Watling split the dough with Eric Laws. Not a bad day for you metal detector folks out there. Happened 25 years ago today. And he found a hammer too. That's good news. And finally, 31 minutes after the hour, I got a couple of celebrity birthdays for you. The last king of Hawaii was born in this state in 1836. Kalakua is just as people know him. His actual name is David Lamia Kanamana Kanapawa Mahahanihuri. I think I just swallowed something. Nela Haku Anakali Lamakumbata. Kalakua was born in this state in 1836. He was the last king of Hawaii. There was one more monarch after that, his baby sister. When he left the throne, his baby sister took over, and then the monarchy went gone altogether. He was considered quite the party animal too. Nice guy. The last king of Hawaii was born in this state in 1836, and please don't ask me to say his name again. And my favorite contemporary jazz artist, Diana Krall, celebrates a birthday today. She's 53 years old today. The only jazz artist to have 8 albums that debuted at the top of the Billboard jazz charts. Of course, she's married now to the great Elvis Costello. They have a couple of kids. She's won a bunch of Grammy Awards. Very talented musician, great singer. Diana Krall, probably the biggest name in contemporary jazz in today's world. She's 53 years old today. And that wraps up the second segment of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Don't forget, coming up in just a couple of minutes, Gil Sparks, who is a member of the board of the Pybus Public Market and the executive director of the Pybus Public Market, Steve Robinson. They'll both be in our studios to talk about some really cool, exciting news with Pybus. We're going to talk about that here in just about 5 or 6 minutes. But before we get to that, everyone is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. That's 2 minutes away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I've been watching Price is Right since I was a little kid.
Price is Right, I'm like freaking out. It's crazy. We're gonna win big!
Now, here it comes. On stage and in person, The Price is Right. Live. All the games, prizes, and excitement. And now, more winners than ever before. You could even win from your seat. Don't miss your chance to come on down at The Price is Right live stage show. November 30th, Town Toyota Center. Reserve seats on sale now at towntoyotacenter.com.
Family means something in these parts. Family owned and operated means even more. At Rose Tractor, you're buying more than a product. You're buying years of knowledge through multiple generations. It means you can count on Rose for quality products, quality repairs, and folks who stand behind the products they sell. From your job site to your home to rentals and repairs to new outdoor power equipment, Rose Tractor is growing with you throughout the years. Rose Tractor, quality brands you can trust year after year.
Hi, I'm Lonnie Boucher, attorney and owner of EstateEdge.com. If you found yourself incapacitated, do you have a durable power of attorney for financial and healthcare needs? A durable power of attorney allows you to nominate a person, an agent, to act for you and make decisions if you are unable to do so yourself. EstateEdge.com is your online resource to obtain these and other estate planning documents. For your protection and peace of mind, go to EstateEdge.com today.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing.
We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, there's a lot of argument these days about capitalism and whether or not some people have too much money. Well, honestly, I have to agree. I think some people do have too much money, but also, honestly, who's to say who has too much and what too much is? You, me? Now, one truth is, to many people in third world countries, the average American, you and me, for example, we have too much money. We have more than enough food, little concerns about personal safety, and the lifestyle of most of us exceeds that of millionaires 100 years ago. So again, what's too much and who gets to say? Something to consider. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Hi, this is Carl.
And Kathy from East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet. We are excited to be a part of this wonderful community and look forward to meeting you at East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet.
Our store is filled with name brand products at bargain prices at 40 to 60% savings. We have a large selection of natural, organic, and specialty foods.
Stop by and meet Carl, the wine guy, on Wednesday.
East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet, where you can win what you saved. Stop by soon.
There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020.
39 minutes after the hour on this Thursday, the 16th day of November. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Two guests are joining me here in Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee. One person, actually you're familiar with both of these gentlemen. They've been around Wenatchee Valley for a very, very long time doing great work. One gentleman, Steve Robinson, the executive director of the Pybus Puppet Market, has been on this program on a number of occasions, and he's brought along a guest with him, and that is Gil Sparks, local Wenatchee attorney and a member of the Pybus Board of Directors. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
Dan.
Good
How
morning,
are you,
Dan.
Gil? You're looking good.
Well, thank you very much.
Steve, you're just radiant. This is an exciting day for you. The press release came out yesterday afternoon. This has been a long process. You have a new logo and a new motto, Steve. First of all, why the change to begin with? Was there something you didn't like about the old motto or the old logo, or is just one of those changes a good kind of thing?
Well, I think it's a change that was the time to do. We're 4.5 years into the operation here at Pybus. When it started out, we weren't sure the degree of embracement that we would have and support from the community. Now we know that, and I think it's a time to identify kind of the motto in terms of what's PIBUS about, what does it represent to the community, and then embed that motto into a logo that reflects this great iconic building. So that's kind of the thinking, 4.5 years, it's the right time to brand it, if you will.
And you have decided to do, though, with a new logo. We're going to throw that up in just a couple of minutes. The process began, I want to say it was early in the summertime when you kind of said, okay, here are your 6 choices, and you had kind of a vote, right? Is that how that worked, Gil?
Well, let me back up for just
Go
a
ahead.
minute, Dan, because we have 2 elements here. We have the new motto, and then we have the new logo. And as you may recall, when Mike and Joanne Walker began PIBUS, it started with a 5-person board. It has grown now to a 21-person board, and in that growth, the board has decided they want to involve the community in some of the governance decisions of PIBUS. So part of that process was to go out and get community input, and we started that with finding a motto. And in the concourse, we started asking people to give us suggestions for a motto. And we got literally hundreds, if not thousands, of suggestions, which then the marketing committee, headed up by Kristen Lodge, evaluated, weeded through, and ultimately came up with the new motto, which we feel reflects PIBUS, where community meets. And we think that was a perfect match.
And it is a perfect match. I can't think of a better motto than that, a better slogan. Except maybe the happiest place on earth, and Disney took that one. So nerves to them, they would have sued you anyway, right? So where community meets is the brand new slogan, motto, if you will. There is the brand new logo. There it is, making its debut here on television. Mike and Joanne Walker are 2 of the greatest people you will ever come across in your life. They launched this thing and they're just saying, here you go, North Central Washington, take it from here, which is why you have a board of directors, Steve. And Mike and Joanne are distancing themselves, for lack of a better term, from the PIBUS and turning it over basically to the community.
I think it's just a remarkable story that here you have 2 individuals that did well by Wenatchee and in this community, but care passionately about it. And we're looking for a project to do as they were maybe phasing away from the day-to-day operation of their business. And the opportunity to develop something in this great old building along the waterfront came along. And they poured a lot of their money into it, and it really was intended to be a gift to the community. I think initially there was some misperception by the community that this was a for-profit enterprise by the Walkers, owned by the Walkers, and again, nothing could be further from the truth. PIBUS was their gift to the community, and it's, as Gil referenced, managed and overseen by a community board of directors, and we're a nonprofit. Our businesses inside PIBUS, right, are for-profit businesses, but PIBUS itself is a nonprofit entity.
How did you get to be on the board, Gil? Who approached you? Who said, Gil Sparks would be good, let's get him?
Well, it was really the other way around. I became a PIBUS groupie from the very beginning. I happened to be in the local downtown Rotary, and we started having a couple of off-site meetings while there was still dirt on the ground. Mm-hmm. And just the vision that was there, looking forward, I felt this was going to be a terrific asset for the community. And I just immersed myself in being around and working around it. And when they started expanding the board, I don't recall whether it was Joanne or Mike or both of them, asked if I'd be interested in continuing in helping in the governance. And I was honored and delighted and glad to be part of that role right now.
Some of the board members, almost all of the names are prominent names in the Wenatchee Valley. How did the board, well, let me back up a little bit, Steve, and I'll ask Gil the same question. Why go from 5 to 21? Just, you wanted that much more input?
Well, again, the basic premise of PIBUS, it's a community asset. It ties into the motto itself, where community meets. So what better way to signify and reinforce the fact that it's a community asset than to have a community representatives on the board of directors. So that's really was the thinking. I'm not sure there's anything magical about 21 or 19 or 17, but there really was an intent, purposeful by the Walkers to say, this isn't our building anymore. The small board of directors was really necessary to get it up and running and make quick decisions initially. But long term, it needs to be supported and managed and overseen and embraced by the community, hence the larger board of directors.
So Mike and Joanne invited you, Gil. How is the board of directors selected? How do people end up on the board of directors of PIBAS?
Well, if you want to get into some of the legal technicality.
Gil's a lawyer, for those of you who hadn't figured that one out. Go ahead.
Anyway, with any organization, you create a set of bylaws, and in the bylaws, you decide what you want your board to look like. And if you look around the community at some of the more iconic, successful nonprofits, the Central Washington Hospital Foundation, the Community Foundation in North Central Washington, the Land Trust, the YMCA, they all are large community boards. And I think that has a lot to do with the success and the image of those organizations. So, as Steve said, we picked a number, and that was put in the bylaws, and then we went through a process of who would be a good fit, trying to get as diverse a cross-section as possible. And it is just grown from that. We've got a structure now in terms of how long individuals will serve on the board, and it'll be a continuing turnover of new community members coming on the board.
And of course, Steve, as the executive director, you are reportable to the board.
This gentleman on my right is one of my bosses.
Okay,
Yes.
That's good. And Gil's doing a great job, by the way. So there's staggered terms, so there'll be fresh blood coming in on a regular basis. And
That's correct.
All those good things. How often does the board meet? You guys meet quarterly or?
At present, we are meeting every other month unless there is a special need, which is a nice segue into one of the other things we wanted to be able to mention this morning in some of the future-looking aspects of what's going to be coming down the pike with PIBAS.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Gil. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what exactly you just teased our audience with. In the television business, we call that a tease, ladies and gentlemen. We may come back more with Gil Sparks and Steve Robinson from PIBAS Public Market on a red letter day for these folks. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Blair from Works, your workout prescription. Have you ever started an exercise program and then struggled to keep it going? So what if I told you that with this MyZone device, I could increase your chances of self-motivated exercise adherence by over 200%. Combine that with an exercise prescription specifically for your level of readiness, we'll increase it even more. And that's our new member success system. It's $99, it's exclusively at Works. It includes your MyZone belt. Works, yourworkoutrx.com.
Honey, I got the space heater.
Make sure you survive winter. Call Central Washington Heating and Air before it's too late. This winter, don't get shocked by the cold. Call Central Washington Heating and Air today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is State Representative Kerry Condata inviting you to check out our newest show on the NCW Life channel. We call it the 12th District. Each week we'll be taking an in-depth look at various political issues that affect our area, our state, and the world. We'll be featuring local and statewide experts on the subject matter at hand. Please join us weekly for the 12th District with yours truly, Kerry Condata. Check your channel guide for times or go to ncwlife.com for details.
NCW Life Channel, your home for local news, local weather, local sports, and local shows featuring local people covering local topics like Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Let's Learn, Street Talk and other stuff, the 12th District, Life with Lisa, and Arbiter of Stoke. NCW Life Channel, your local TV station.
Just about 50 minutes after the hour, I'll wake up on Wenatchee Valley Thursday edition. Gil Sparks is to my immediate left, and on my far left, Steve Robinson, both, of course, with the Pybus Public Market. We were talking about this off camera. I went down and visited with Steve just a couple of weeks ago, Gil, during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they had the bra chandelier, of course, hanging from the middle of the Pybus. And I was there with my camera equipment. I went in and I interviewed Steve and had a nice little conversation with Steve and Aaron Cass from Wellness Place. And I was probably, all things there, about 45 minutes. And it was just after the noon hour, I want to say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And from the time I got there to the time I left, in that 45 minutes segment, I probably ran into 20, 25 people that I knew.
And that is why the motto is where community meets, because that happens to all of us who have been part of the Wenatchee community. That's just that wonderful feel that is part of the community, the family here, and that's what makes Pybus special. I do want to mention one thing that we hadn't covered. When we talked about the motto and we talked about the logo, both of those were by community vote. And each time, the new motto, the new logo, were the #1 choice of the community. So, just wanted to point that out.
Who designed the logo, by the way? It's very well done.
So that's a great question, and we were fortunate to retain the services of a local graphic designer named Lars Ringsrud. Lars does a lot of website design. He does a lot of branding and marketing work. He's a really talented, really talented young man. And I think the logo work he did is fabulous. And he's consistent with what Gil just said in terms of the polling of the community. Lars is a very engaging and very open to different ideas. So we really worked with the community, as Gil said, with the staff, and with the board of directors. So we really like that outcome.
So he didn't have the notorious what is it? The artistic, I don't want to say attitude. Most artists are pretty headstrong. This is my idea and you will accept it.
And that would not be Lars. He's great to work with, and I think the work product reflects that.
So you have the new logo. What are you going to do with it? Signage, letterhead, now what?
A little bit of everything. So some things we can do instantly, like change our logo on the Facebook page and Instagram and website and newsletter. All of that will happen instantly. There's other things merchandise-wise, and it takes a while to roll all this stuff out. So over the course of the next several weeks, we'll replace the old with the new, and it'll be a good thing.
I was talking to an out-of-towner who had never been to Pybus before, and they weren't even from town, and they said it has a vibe. It has a really neat vibe. That was the word that she used, and I thought that's a good word for Pybus. It is. It has a. You walk in the door, you smile.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. Yeah. I really do.
And a lot of it, I mean, again, kudos to the walkers, kudos to all the people who make it happen. I think the kinds of businesses that have decided to call the Pybus home is a perfect fit for Pybus's location and for the overall vision of Pybus Public Market. You have a little bit of everything there. You really do.
Well, it's about local. So, nothing against, say, Subway or a fast food chain restaurant. We really are about local vendors. And that's the calling card for Pybus. So whether it's our day tables in the middle of the concourse that are there typically on Saturdays, which are all local, or our merchants, they're all locally owned.
Speaking of Saturday, you got something big going on, don't you?
We do.
Yeah.
So this is our 5th year of our Holiday Arts and Crafts Fair. We will have 40 or so local artisans. Again, these are folks who aren't buying stuff and reselling it. These are individuals who make their own lotions or make their own crafts or jewelry. Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a one-day event this year. In prior years, it's been a 2-day event, so we've shortened it to 1 day, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It'll be a great place to do some early Christmas shopping.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, Pybus is never afraid to change, never afraid to. It's always a work in progress, and to that end, I want to do a special shout out and thanks to our friends at Wenatchee Central Lions Club. They did something really neat to help you guys out, didn't they, Steve?
They did. So 3 years ago, we were fortunate to get a grant from them for the installation of the handicap door openers. So when you walk up to Pybus, and if you need assistance to open the doors, boom, press the button, and they funded that handicap door opener. earlier this year, they also made a very generous gift to help put a PA system in at Pybus, and we needed that. We did not have a central PA system, and so you can imagine from a safety standpoint in the wintertime, somebody leaves the lights on in a car parked, or they double park, and or there's a lost child, or someone loses a wallet. We don't have any way up until now to put in any kind of an announcement throughout the whole building. So because of the generous gift of the Lions Club, we now have a central PA system, and we're a safer, more effective organization.
And it's zoned out, it's wired up, and the speakers are placed in a way where if you need to talk to everybody all at once, you can, but if you just need to concentrate the audio on just a certain area of the building, you can do that as well.
Absolutely.
So, great. Do you have a hard time getting work done sometimes at Pybus? Because I can't imagine a cooler place to go to work every day than the Pybus Public Market. If you're not at your desk or in your office working, my guess is you can't get anything done.
Well, I don't want to admit this to the board, but
or on the television,
or on the No, honestly, we say this a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's true. If you want to be productive at Pybus, you really can't walk out in the concourse, because, as you referenced earlier, you're just going to run into people and engage them. And to Gil's point, it is where community meets. So you better stay in your office and hunker down and not walk in the concourse if you want to be productive.
When the board gets together, Gil, as one of the topics go, we have just this beautiful building and we have great tenants. There's just one missing ingredient. It would be great if we had this kind of store or this kind of business in Pybus. Is there a missing link, something you'd like to see in the building?
I think there are a lot of aspirations, and one of the coming events that we encourage everybody to watch for, the event center. We have been pleasantly surprised at how well used the event center is by this community, by a very diverse group of organizations and individuals. But we also recognize some of the shortcomings of the audio, the heating and cooling. So the board has authorized looking at renovating the event center. And we are in the process right now at looking at architectural drawings, getting cost estimates, and I would predict with a fair degree of certainty that you're going to see in the very near future some renovations on the event center that are just going to up the level of excitement about Pybus.
And that's a great point you made, Gil, because as we talked about the vibe of Pybus Public Market, the one thing that doesn't have a vibe is that room. It's just this big warehouse-looking room that just doesn't have a personality at all. And this is great. I'm glad this is.
Well, it doesn't have a personality, but your listening audience will appreciate this if they've been there. It also doesn't have air conditioning.
No, it doesn't.
And it doesn't have a really good heating system, and the acoustics are bad. So Gil's spot on. I really hope and I think the board will allow us to move forward with a modest renovation of that events room and bring it up to a standard that's consistent with the rest of Pybus Market.
It does have some nice things about it, the room that we're speaking of. I mean, it opens right out to the back and the parking lot, and you can have, it has a nice deck out there.
Right, but imagine what it would be if it had air conditioning and an HVAC system, excuse me, and acoustics, and it had a bank of windows or sliding doors that would look out on the water and the loop trail.
We're almost out of time, got about a minute left. The new hotel's going in right next door. It's got to make the tenants and the folks pretty excited about that as that project continues, Gil.
I think it's just going to expand Pybus's reputation and value to the community. When we get the traffic that's coming in from out of town, they see what this is, they experience the vibe, that it's just going to spread the word exponentially. And we're excited to look forward to that.
I mean, the way I'd say it, Dan, is also that, you know, when communities develop their waterfront thoughtfully, good things typically happen. And so I think this is good for, the hotel's good for Pybus, it's good for the community, it's good for the region. So it's on the up.
Anything else you want to talk about in the 30 seconds we have left, Steve or Gil?
I also would watch for renovations to the south side parking area, which is currently dirt. There's probably going to be a change there.
Okay.
And we're going to work on more parking.
Okay, good.
We know we have a parking problem, and the city's been wonderful to work with, and so there's some plans down the road.
Well, if you need to talk to the mayor, I have his cell phone number. Gil Sparks, thanks for dropping by. It's good to see you, my friend. Keep up the good work. Steve, anytime you want to come by, please come by and pay us a visit, all right? It's good to see everybody. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.